Who is in charge of programming for NFL Network? Holy crap! Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared and I'm representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about NFL Network and some of the bizarre programming decisions that they have made. I've talked at length about the fact that they are putting Good Morning Football on hiatus. I talked about what happened on Monday with their programs and how it was a complete ratings disaster and how I don't think anyone watched NFL Network on that day, considering what they aired and how it made no sense to air it because it was all on YouTube on the NFL's official channels and can save you a ton of time that way. But the programming decisions continue to baffle because I was searching through my TV guide and found what they are airing on Thursday night in primetime. Now, keep in mind, Thursday night primetime, not a whole lot that's taking place. A lot of baseball teams are off on Thursdays because they play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so they travel on Thursday. It's an off day, first off day of the season for a lot of teams. You got some basketball and some hockey, obviously, but no men's Final Four, no women's Final Four. That doesn't start just yet. So you could do some stuff on Thursday night. You could have some interesting primetime programming if you want. It doesn't have to be super high cost, but it can be better than this because what they are airing on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern in primetime is a rerun of a game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans from the 2023 season. Now, you might be saying, okay, come on, you're overreacting. Come on, the Jaguars-Texans game from 2023, that was a great game. That Week 11 game was phenomenal. I mean, I've said that was one of the best games of the season, awful officiating aside. Well, it's not that game. They're not re-airing that game. They're re-airing the Week 3 game. That's right. On Thursday night in primetime, NFL Network is re-airing the game between the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars from Week 3. Not the Week 11 game where the Jags won 24-21. That came down to a last-second field goal in that back-and-forth battle between Stroud and Lawrence where they just traded punches and was incredible to watch. The Week 3 game where the Texans won 37-17. The game was a blowout. The game was abysmal. And the Texans led 17-0 at the half. That game. They are re-airing that game. And I'm not ranting about this because the Jaguars lost this game. I want to make that very clear. This is not me saying I hate the fact that they're airing a game that the Jaguars lost. Trust me, that is not the reason why I hate this. I hate this because it's a terrible game. If they were doing like Jaguars-Bengals, I wouldn't have any complaints. Great game, even though the Jaguars lost that one. This game was awful. Maybe there is an audience to watch full games on NFL Network for the whole 3 hours with commercials. But they're not watching this one. They're not watching a full game where the Texans led it by 17 going into the fourth quarter, never trailed, and dominated the entire time. It doesn't make any logical sense to show this game. Now, they say the reason why they're showing it is because it's a Tank Dell rookie showcase. So what NFL Network likes to do around draft time is they like to show rookie showcase games. And what that means is they show a great game from a rookie that had a very good season. So they show Achane doing a game, they show Stroud having a game, they showed Sam Laporta the other night doing a game, and now they're going to show Tank Dell with his Texas Jaguars game. And yes, he did play well in this game. No one's denying that. Believe me, I love Tank Dell. I think he's a great receiver, and I'm very, very scared to face him for the next 10 years in Houston. Hopefully he comes back healthy. He had a great game. 5 catches, 145, and a touchdown. He played well against Jacksonville. No one's denying that. But if that's the case, if you want to show a Tank Dell rookie showcase game, and again, no problem whatsoever doing that. No problem whatsoever. He was probably going to be top 3 for Offensive Rookie of the Year before he got hurt. But if you want to show a game for Tank Dell, why that game? Why not pick a better game where he also balled out? What about Week 11 against the Cardinals? That would be a great game for a Tank Dell showcase. 8 catches, 149 yards in that one, and a touchdown. He had better stats in that one than the Jaguars game. And the Texans won that game 21-16. It was a super close game. It was super, super interesting. The Cardinals were driving late. Looked like they were going to pose a threat. Looked like they had a chance to potentially take the lead late as they were moving in deep Texan territory. It was a really good game. Tons of suspense. You get a Tank Dell game where he goes off, and you get a game that people actually want to watch for 3 hours. It's a win-win situation. Or what about Week 9 against the Buccaneers? Did you forget that game existed? Remember that game? 6 catches, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown with 15 seconds left. You figure if you're going to show a Tank Dell showcase game Show a game where he had 2 touchdowns and caught the game-winning touchdown. That was a crazy, crazy game. I did a dumb decisions video on that one because Todd Bowles really bungled the end of that one with his timeout and clock management. Go check that out if you haven't already. I'll leave a link in the upper right corner and a link in the description. And that might have been the best game of the entire season. Maybe, at the very least, the best finish of the entire season. So you get best of both worlds. So if you want to show a Tank Dell game, again, no problem with that. He deserves it. He's a great player. Show the game against the Cardinals. Show the game against the Bucks. Don't show a 37-17 game that was a shutout at the half, and there was no interest in, there was no intrigue. There's no historical value to this game. Yes, there are some rookie showcase games that they show that are not good games. They're showing Broncos-Dolphins for HN, but there's historical value, obviously. The Dolphins put up 70. That's a game that, even though it was a bad game, the Dolphins did something that hadn't been done since the 1960s, and they had an offensive explosion. So that's different. There is no historical value to this Jags-Texans game. There is no suspense or drama. The Texans led it the entire way, and the Jaguars were never within one possession in the second half. It was terrible. No one is going to remember this game. Most people probably can't tell you a single thing about this game outside of the Andrew Beck kickoff return touchdown. It was just one of the most bizarre plays of the season and summed up just how everything went wrong for Jacksonville in this game. So again, I am not ranting because the Jaguars lost this game. I'm not ranting about the decision to show a game where the Jaguars lost. There are plenty of games you can show that the Jaguars lose, and I have no problem showing it on NFL Network because every team is going to have a game where they lose and it gets shown on NFL Network. I'm just baffled as to why the people in charge of the programming chose this game, because it was a terrible game, just objectively speaking. It was a terrible game that was a blowout, and there are way better games, not just from a statistical standpoint, but from a competitive standpoint to choose from if you really want to show off Tank Dell's skill set and show off how great of a receiver he is and show off how great of a rookie season he had before he unfortunately got hurt for the final quarter of the season. So that's just my take on this. It's a bizarre, bizarre decision, and I just had to rant about this once I saw this on the TV guide because I was like, what on earth are they doing? What the heck are they possibly doing? Thursday night in primetime, and you're airing this. They're trying to cut costs, obviously, with NFL Network to try to increase the budget, they're trying to increase the revenue, increase their profits, but there are better ways to do it. I have no problem showing full games. I really don't. Just pick better games. Pick games that are not this. Pick games that are not blowouts, that have no historical value, that have no significance, and where the receiver that you want to feature played well, but had better games where he also went off and where the team had a competitive finish. So, just bizarre. Whoever's in charge of the program for NFL Network, we need to talk. We need to talk. That's all I'll say. We need to talk. But what are your thoughts on this decision by NFL Network? Do you think it makes sense to air a game where the Texans won by 20 points and where they led it by 17 at the half? Do you think it doesn't make sense? Do you think I'm overreacting? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And speaking of Tank Dell, what are your thoughts on Tank Dell? Let me know down below. I love the guy. Unfortunately, he plays for Houston, but I absolutely love the guy. But that's going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, Jaguar9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.